What are you still interested to see now that the pads are on?
I mean, there's so much.
Yeah,
Right?
there is.
Like, it's it's kind of hard to figure out where to start. But I think overall, the talent level, I think what we expected coming into it is probably pretty much played out what we expected. I mean, there is a ton of talent, a lot of new faces that should be able to bring a lot of speed and different capabilities to this team. But you also are reminded, I think, every time we go out there that it is so many new pieces, and whether it's the new transfers that came in, the 14 new transfers that came in, or the 10 or 12 high school players that are there as early enrollees, and then even some of the backups in the past who are now kind of trying to step up into bigger roles. There's just so much to take in. I don't know if there's like one central theme, but I would say overall, like, I'm not less optimistic about their chances, but I also am not less concerned about the fact that you have so many new faces to plug in.
Do you get as giddy and childlike as I do when you watch Jalen Lucas play football? Because he's just fun. That guy is just flying around every time we go out there. It's a joy to watch him play.
Yeah, he's super talented, and I'm glad that Norvell is excited about him because he kind of, when I asked Norvell about him last week, he said he's a great kick returner and everybody knows that, and he made a comment about he's a guy you kind of need to have a plan for. In other words, the way I took that is, he's not a guy, he's not Trey Benson where you're
no
3 or 25 times, but he has immense potential and breakaway speed, and he runs. He's not just a fast guy. Sometimes with track kind of speed, you don't know, do they have agility? Do they have the ability to change direction? Do they have vision? All those types of things. I think in small sample sizes, we've seen this kid has all that. He's a football player with really elite speed. So I'm excited that they're excited about him because I definitely think he can really help the offense.
I think he can too, and I've been pleasantly surprised watching him and the kind of the zeal with which he plays the game and blinding speed. And it is good that Mike addressed it because now we can talk about it, right? We're not giving away secrets. He's basically telling you and telling everybody else, yeah, we're impressed. We're impressed. We're going to figure out a way to use him, which I'm excited about. I read your piece with Daryl Jackson. For those that haven't had a chance to go and read it, It Feels Great is the headline. FSU defensive lineman Daryl Jackson brings new look, new energy into 2024. I'm glad you wrote it because I thought it looking at him, watching him at practice. He looks like he's in the best shape of his life. He looks like he's got a great mindset. He looks like he's a guy who's focused on, well, frankly, getting paid.
Yeah. And, it's kind of, I think if you're a reader, that if you're the kind of like hardcore FSU fan that reads every practice report, watches every Mike Norvell video, listens to, all the content you can get, then you might be thinking, well, we heard great things about him last year. And that's true. And that's true because he is, just an incredibly gifted human being. And for a guy who kind of got screwed by the process and not able to play last year, he did have a good attitude in terms of, he wasn't moping around, he wasn't sulking. But I think what we're seeing now is there's a difference between not being a problem and versus actually being like, okay, this is a motivated, really dedicated dude with incredible potential. And it's just, you look at him and you see some of the things he does. And it's not just what he looks coming off the bus. I mean, he's making plays. I mean, I'm sure you talked about it as well. I mean, he is a disruptive force, and his body is just. You and I were standing there looking at him one day, just like, man, what planet is he from?
Yeah, we were having the conversation. I was right. We just looked at each other. He doesn't make any sense. And this is why we were pumped about him a year ago, is that you saw he was freakishly put together. I mean, look, there's no other way to say it. I mean, the guy's 6'5", 330. He's a monster of a human being, and he can move. We saw last year where he'd have moments, pockets of time where he was really motivated, and they couldn't block him. But then, obviously, it would be hard to sustain that for anybody once you learn you're not going to be able to play. So even though, like you said, he practiced every day and he was there, but it's hard when you know you're not going to get in, you're not allowed to play. He looks now like a guy who understands he's going to play and he's going to be relied upon to be a dominant force.
Exactly. Now you look at that defensive tackle group, and if you've got him, and if you've got Josh Farmer, who I think we all think is an all-ACC caliber player,
yes,
a future NFL player, then you've got the Grady Kelly kid, you've got some other pieces there, defensive tackle that, I think there's Daniel Lyons.
Lyons has played well so far. Yeah, I'm excited about him too.
So that, again, they've lost a lot from that defensive tackle group, but they don't appear to be in danger of being in a depth issue. The one thing I would say, I think to me, and we'll see what happens, the Tamiwa Durajaye, the West Virginia transfer, they've said he might play defensive end, might play defensive tackle. Based on what I've seen out of Lolo Heya and Marvin Jones Jr. and all those guys, man, I think Durajaye might help this team more inside a defensive tackle. We'll see. I'm sure they'll give him a chance to do both. My guess is the young man might want to play defensive end, but I think on this team, I think he would help out, really bolster that interior, where I feel pretty good about those top end defensive ends.
Yeah, he's a monster too, by the way. You see the size there. He's like a guy that you think if he does play defensive end, he's just setting the edge. He's not getting after the passer. But yeah, I think they slide him inside some too. There's no doubt about that.